So apparently Joe Rogan has the most popular podcast on Spotify, and he's repeatedly spread COVID misinformation and invited guests on to do the same.
And from Walter Cronkite, basically to this guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it.
He believes in dragons?
He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like dinosaur-y type of animals, roamed the earth when people did.
Worried about losing your job, and you're worried about podcasts taking over, and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us, and he won, and this is and Joe Rogan believes in dragons.
Imagine Joe Rogan just cruising through his day, maybe mid-sauna, maybe mid-elk steak, when bam, The View drops his name again like it's a weekly ritual. Only this time, instead of laughing it off, Rogan slaps down a $100 million defamation lawsuit. Yep, 9 figures, real court, no punchline. Suddenly, Joy Behar's smirk vanishes, Sunny Hostin starts blinking like a busted Wi-Fi router, and even Whoopi Goldberg looks like she saw a ghost in her teleprompter. Is it a legal move or the season finale of some media soap opera? Either way, the TV studio just became a courtroom, and Rogan's holding the gavel.
That's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
We're checked by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
The human legal.
But
I don't know these people. Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't
the
believe
other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
wait.
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant.
Whether Rogan was deadlifting a moose or discussing ayahuasca with a neuroscientist, something snapped. Years of being name-dropped, ridiculed, and misquoted by The View had built up like bad karma in a pressure cooker. For ages, the panel treated Rogan like their favorite chew toy, using his name to stir outrage, rack up claps, and sell drama with zero receipts. But now, the UFC commentator turned podcaster decided he wasn't just their Monday segment anymore. I'm not your content, he basically said. I'm your plaintiff.
Is that show has this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in. And they always bring on a token conservative woman, and they yell over her and silence her. And, they did that with Meghan McCain, and they did that with what is that other blonde woman from Survivor? Do you remember her, Jamie? She was always yelling. I mean, it's a bizarre show.
The View's brand thrives on heat, not homework. Think brunch table energy, but with cameras and a live studio audience. Their model? Loud voices, hot takes, and research levels hovering around Wikipedia on a good day. So when they set their sights on Rogan, they didn't hold back. Claims, accusations, dramatic music in the background, he was painted as some misinformation warlord leading a cult of kettlebell-swinging rebels. Facts? Optional. Nuance? Unavailable. But scandal? Served piping hot with a side of smug.
Joe Rogan here. Did you see Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons, I guess? According to Joy Behar, he changed his X profile. Did you see this?
That. I did see that.
It now just simply says dragon believer. He had talked about dragons on the show. It's the thing of it is, you take anything out of context and you can make fun of it and mock it. And so, let's do that. It goes without saying, Joe Rogan, how many times more intelligent do you think Joe Rogan is than Joy Behar?
And the punchline, Rogan wasn't even involved. No interviews, no statements, not a whisper. Yet there he was, center stage on a show he hadn't acknowledged in months. Joy Behar fired off sarcasm like it was scripted. Whoopi donned her robe of reason with the confidence of a judge who skipped deliberation. And Sunny went full prosecutorial with allegations that sounded straight out of a YouTube rabbit hole. No citations, just condemnation. And that's when Rogan reached for the legal uppercut.
People want us divided, and they aren't just here in this country. They're foreign
foreign adversaries who are infiltrating our social media because it is prudent for us to stay that way.
But
so when you see something that really pisses you off, you should triple check that one.
Bad information that's going out there.
Well, in defense, there are some really
But
good
it's possible that Donald Trump did roam the earth when dinosaurs were here.
There are some really good news kind of influencer types, and I think it's great that they're getting information about global and current events in front of younger people who maybe don't tune into traditional media. But to Sarah's point, there has to be some fact checking and actually verification of the things that are shared, because I spend a lot of time on Instagram Reels and I'm served up things that I get outraged about, and then I realize, oh, that's not even.
This wasn't a PR stunt. It wasn't clickbait. It was a full-force, legal juggernaut straight from the man who once dared Americans to eat cow rectums on prime time. Rogan hit The View with a $100 million lawsuit, and it wasn't over jokes about supplements. He's fine with mockery. He thrives in controversy. But accuse him of endangering public health without evidence. That's defamation, and now it's personal. His reputation, business deals, and Spotify empire are on the line, and the hosts thought Morning Talk gave them immunity. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Especially when your target's lawyered up and caffeinated.
Do you see what Whoopi Goldberg said?
What'd she say?
Whoopi Goldberg said that Biden could arrest all the Republicans and put them in jail. You just need to see how unhinged this kind of thinking is. Well, you know what Joe Biden could do? Joe Biden, you have to see it, because it's so
on TV,
crazy.
she said
on television.
You know, just let's look at a scenario where the Supreme Court says, yes, he has all those rights. He is immune from everything.
Yeah.
You know what Joe Biden could do since he is presently president?
What?
Whoa. He could throw every Republican in jail.
And Rogan's team didn't just throw paper. They brought ammunition. Evidence, timestamps, receipts long enough to print as a CVS ad. They compared The View's wild rants to Rogan's actual statements, turning the courtroom into a truth bomb factory. This wasn't opinion versus opinion. It was fantasy versus record. Meanwhile, The View acted shocked. Joy squinted at the teleprompter like it betrayed her, and Whoopi blinked through legal terms like she was dodging Matrix bullets. Rogan's point: you can't brand someone dangerous with no proof and expect zero fallout, especially not when that person has a fan base larger than the cable network coming for him.
I agree that Joe Rogan is a horror. A horror.
I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners.
then
He's got a
what are you
$100
saying
million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says,
That's fine.
this is misinformation.
Then came the gaslighting, Whoopi waving it off like, it's just our opinion, as if that phrase were some kind of jetty shield. But broadcasting opinions to millions under a news-adjacent label doesn't grant you invincibility. It requires accuracy, or at least a loose grip on reality. Instead, they called Rogan dangerous with all the certainty of a courtroom verdict, minus the trial. Rogan naturally responded with the biggest mic drop in podcast history, dismantling their claims on air, calmly and ruthlessly, like a man peeling a banana with a samurai sword. His audience roared. Reddit forums exploded. YouTube turned into C-SPAN with memes. Meanwhile, The View's fans Googled what qualifies as defamation.
Arguably, like, the fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like, they're probably immobile.
Right. Because their mom's taking their kids to school, and that's, yeah.
It's a very strange show, but it's fun to watch. It's just fun to watch them.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Well, they're just, it's interesting because I think Sunny is very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
That's what I think. The other ones, there's a couple of the other ones don't have to name any names, are just very dull-minded.
This is the media's oldest trick. Punch down, call it content, then hide behind the we're just talking excuse when someone hits back. But when the chatter spirals into character assassination, that banter becomes a legal liability. Rogan's lawsuit isn't just a comeback, it's a cultural warning shot. The message? You don't get to say anything you want just because you're on daytime TV. The View's hosts might have thought they were wielding moral authority, but all they were holding was a live grenade. And now they're watching the pin fly across the courtroom. Rogan, meanwhile, is sipping mushroom tea and analyzing their logic like a fight commentator breaking down a slow-motion knockout.
Show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested hen house.
and at the same time, it seemed like the most interesting part was their audience seemed to be on my side.
Yes.
And that's their audience.
Yes. Well, their audience is not really their audience. Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows.
The irony is delicious. The same crew that demands public accountability from every politician and pop star suddenly shrinks behind the world's weakest shield. It's just daytime TV. Rogan's lawsuit was the equivalent of dropping a truth nuke on their carefully scripted chaos. The result? Panic. Real, studio-wide panic. Joy paused mid-sentence like she heard a ghost. Whoopi's legal jargon buffer started glitching. And back at ABC HQ, executives raced to figure out if their morning circus just became a multi-million-dollar courtroom drama. Disney's lawyers entered crisis mode. You could practically hear the Mickey ears trembling, and their public statement, Corporate PR 101, we're reviewing the situation. Translation, somebody call the settlement team.
I had to read the thing about The View because I just thought it was funny.
What's the
That's the only
View?
reason why I read that about me.
Dragon lover.
Joy Behar was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just
She
heard
said,
about
I
it.
checked it. I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should be like
you think they lived
Sasquatch,
alongside of
bitch.
people?
Behind closed doors, it was pure chaos. Network staffers whispering in elevators, lawyers sprinting between meetings, producers frantically digging through past transcripts for anything else lawsuit-worthy. Retractions? Floated. Apologies? Focus tested. A weepy on-air mea culpa with tea mugs and emotional pauses. Highly likely. The internet, meanwhile, lit up like Times Square. Rogan fans treated it like the Super Bowl. Twitter became a digital battleground. YouTube lawyers uploaded 40-minute breakdowns before lunch. And suddenly, the conversation wasn't about whether Rogan was right. It was about whether The View had finally hit the wall of consequence they'd been speeding toward for years. No more free rides on the outrage train.
Doesn't The View have any trans women on it?
Great point. It has a lot of women that look trans, but none of them. It has a lot of second and third takes. After a drink, you'd go, huh? But it doesn't have a ton of.
So here we are, free speech, meet accountability. In an age where talk shows have more sway than some senators, Rogan's lawsuit is asking the hard question. Where's the line? You can't just toss serious accusations into the public square and walk off to a standing ovation. That's not expression, it's erosion. This case may never reach a courtroom stage, but the message already has. If Rogan succeeds, even partially, expect a ripple effect. Suddenly, every influencer, anchor, and podcaster might think twice before tossing verbal molotovs into the ether. Because now those words carry weight and consequences. Rogan's not crying, he's calculating. He's monetizing the fallout while The View tries to spin damage control with a smile. And maybe next time they say, you know what Joe Rogan said, they'll stop and think. Because in this new media age, the only thing louder than a hot take is a subpoena.